Welcome students to the first tutorial on Photoshop. In this tutorial we're going to go through how to open a document, create a new document, take a look at the top ribbon and the side ribbons of the interface of Photoshop. So the first thing that I'd like you to do is go ahead and open Photoshop in Adobe, and you can pause right now in order to do that. The first thing that will come up when you bring Photoshop is going to be if you have documents that you've been working on previously or pictures that you've been working with, you'll notice that those will come up. As you can see my screen, I've got some things I was working on, and so they're kind of full. You should see on the left hand side a link that says Create New. This is what I'm going to click in order to start a new document. When I start a new document, I am then going to get some choices of some styles and sizes that I've used in the past. And so those will automatically come up for me. If there is nothing here, then you should be able to find some choices, or you can customize your own over on the right hand panel over here. You'll notice that you can work in as a photo, which usually will give you a 5x7 in inches, a 3x2, or a 4x6. You can work with print, where you could go letter, legal, or for a tablet. Art and illustration, if you're creating a poster. Web, if you're creating something for a website. Mobile, if you're creating something for a mobile app. And finally, film and video. The one that we pay attention to mostly in this particular course is going to be using Photoshop in a photo piece. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and create a standard 2x3 inches. If I wanted to customize it, I could come over here and I could give it a title. And usually I work within inches. I like inches because it's easy for me to visualize what the size is going to be. Pixels are going to be what we work in Photoshop, and you should have learned that from an earlier tutorial on the difference between Photoshop and Illustrator. Then you're also going to see inches, centimeters, millimeters, points, and picas. Points and picas are typically going to be standards that we see working with those who are professional graphic designers. We don't use that too much in here. We pretty much stay to inches and sometimes centimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and select my 2x3, and you can see that when I select it here, it changes my information over on the side panel. I then can decide if I'm going to do a color mode of an RGB, which is standard, a bitmap or a grayscale. For this particular purpose, I'm going to go ahead and leave it the color that it is, and I'm also going to go ahead and leave it as a white background. In some cases, I may want to choose, which we can't see here, so I have to bring this down a little bit. We may choose a different background of black, a background color. Transparent is most used, and then maybe a custom piece that we were going to use. For this purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and open it in white and say Create. Now this page is created. Because I was in Photoshop earlier today, some of my properties and windows that you see on the side are already up. You'll notice I'm going to go through the top piece first, now that we've created this brand new document. I can title the document later, or I could title the document previously, but you're going to see that right here is going to be the tab for that document. There is also an X next to that tab. If you click that, it will close the document. It'll make a lot more sense when we're working in multiple documents that you will see on the top that come across in this area. The very top ribbon, we're going to have features under File, under Edit, under Image, under Layer, under Type, under Select, under Filter, under 3D. However, for this particular course, we do not work under the 3D window panes, View, and then Window. The very first piece that I want to talk about is going to be Window. Window, it gives you options to see different types of properties and items that you use most. That is this item over here. So in my window, I could bring up layers. Layers is a great piece to have that gives you a quick check to go by. You notice the first layer that we have is the background layer. There would be a lock here, and to work within this, I'm always going to make sure that I click on that lock in order to unlock the layer. If you're having issues with getting into the layer, it might possibly be because the layer is locked. Going back to Window, the second most used piece that I have is History, and I could click on History, and you notice that History comes with my Layers piece. History will tell me exactly the steps that I'm doing. So should I get 7 steps ahead and want to go back to an original step, I can easily do that through History. Under Window, the next one that I usually use on a regular basis is Swatches. And if I click on Swatches, you'll notice my swatches come up, and those are going to be all of the colors that I use on a regular basis. The first thing that we're going to learn is that we have these quick tools on the side. Your quick tools are going to be those most used tools for Photoshop, and if you hover right above one, it'll kind of tell you what that tool is used for. And you notice I can go down and it's going to show me each one of these particular pieces, what the tool is used for, or how it looks. As we go along with this course, we will learn some of the tools for each one in each tutorial. We will not utilize all of the tools all at once. We learn them a bit at a time. So we have learned how to open a file in Photoshop, how to create a new file, the top ribbon that we have, the side most used tools, and then our window tools that we would use to open in order to work on a project. In the next tutorial, we are going to look at using the selector tools, the selection tool, the lasso selection tool, and finally the polyogon lasso.